Oceania is very much the smallest of football's 6 regional confederations. Only one of its 11 members is currently in the world's top 100, and they have no direct passage to the FIFA World Cup. New Zealand is far and away the largest Oceania nation, and as such, its president is one of the most important football men in the area. He's Frank van Hattum, former player, current businessman, and administrator.
What it does being a footballer and also with a business background that I have, it gives you a wider perspective. Even now I still use all my football experiences when I'm thinking about things for football. So I think it is a positive, but I would caution that any association needs a mixture nowadays, because it is big business. But it's also a motion of football, and you've got to marry the two up. And I think with my work experience and now my football experience, that's been working very well.
Van Hattum, the player, reached the apex of his career in 1982 when he was part of the All Whites' most famous campaign. He was reserve goalkeeper as they travelled 55,000 miles and played 15 matches to qualify for the FIFA World Cup in Spain. And by the time they reached the finals, he was the first choice man between the sticks.
It was 2 years of adventure because we were amateurs. We were going all around the world. It just took forever. And it captured the imagination of the world as well as New Zealand. So we felt like superstars. And you've got to remember 30 years ago, it was a big thing, and huge thrill to get there. But funny enough, we wanted to play the better teams. Nothing worse than go to the World Cup and play a team that you don't know. So to get Brazil, Scotland, because a lot of our players had British heritage, and the Soviet Union back then were a really great side. So we were thrilled.
They were seriously outgunned, of course, but that didn't mean they were overawed. They managed to scare Scotland in their first game with a couple of goals in a 5-2 defeat.
One of the big highlights for New Zealand was Brazil had qualified at that stage, and we thought that they'd just put their second team out. But they gave us the credit of playing their first team, so Zico did play, and Socrates played, and Junior, and Falcao, and it just went on and on and on. And so for them to put their top team out was fantastic for us, and it was a highlight for many of our team, and still is today. And we've played Brazil a few more times. But there's nothing so special as the first time.
New Zealand's second World Cup adventure happened in South Africa in 2010. They beat Asia's 5th place team, Bahrain, to secure a ticket to the finals.
One, it was tremendously exciting to be there because obviously there was a long time between drinks to get to the World Cup. But 2 of my fellow players were also in key roles, so the coach played alongside me and also the manager played alongside me. So we had each had our experience in the past. But I think where it came to was that we had some experiences, all those years ago, and it kept people firmly grounded. It's very easy to go to a World Cup and see the bright lights, and it was actually keeping people grounded. And once again, the biggest fear was actually credibility. We'd lose it, that people saying we shouldn't deserve to be there, and so you have this fear that you're going to get thrashed 5-0, 7-0, or there's been some horror cup stories. So there's a little bit of the fear of losing, fear of disgrace that keeps driving you. But what we did always was have professionalism. Everything we did, we said we will be professional, and that was something that we had down in Spain. We are amateurs, but everything we do will be professional. And I carried that through, the coach carried that through, and I think the players carried that through, and they deserve all the credit.
No one expected anything of the All Whites, and they were duly eliminated at the first stage. Yet they drew all 3 matches and were the only team in South Africa to remain undefeated. One of their matches was an heroic performance against the holders, Italy.
Well, I think they did themselves proud to come back and actually scrape with a draw because we came close near the end to get a goal. It was a dodgy penalty. So, there's all those sort of things. But it was fantastic, to play the past world champions and to see the real pressure that was on Italy. And of course, they didn't qualify either. So, our draw probably put them out.
The All Whites won't be back in 2014. New Zealand's complicated path to Brazil ended in failure after a 2-leg playoff against Mexico. The situation, a final matchup against a team on the far side of the world, is a long way from ideal. Van Hattum hopes that in the future things might be different.
We really have been pushing to go into Asia and play in that second round. So it would be a lot better for all concerned, as far as we're concerned, that if we went into the final 10 that Asia have, or the final 12, And that would be a true test, so 6 teams or 5 teams would come out of that result. There would still be a playoff between the third in each group. And we think that would be better for all concerned. One, from a travel point of view, certainty, and it will stop this extra playoff game that has to happen now, which has a lot of issues for a lot of people.
Frank van Hattum, player turned administrator, is keen for New Zealand's voice to be heard.
And the one of them which is an important